I started running just before lockdown in 2020 with the intention of participating in a Paris marathon. My first training run at maximum exertion, I clocked an average pace of 5 minutes 5 per kilometre, and throughout lockdown I prioritised running as my primary objective. 22 months and numerous cancellations later, I finally took part in a race in October 2021, running the 26.2 miles in just under 2 hours and 40 minutes and improving my average overall kilometre pace by 1 minute 18 and almost 4 times the distance. But what are my favourite workouts for improving your overall running speed?
When trying to either build muscle or strength, you simply overload the muscles, come home, and if you're eating enough protein, your body can react and adapt to the new stimulus and repair yourself, and then next time you go back to the gym, hopefully you can lift a little bit more weight. This is called progressive overload, and actually surprisingly this is the exact same for running. So you want to imagine your heart, or treat your heart like a muscle, and one of the first exercises of how we increase our heart strength in relation to our own body weight is an interval track day. So how I like to do a track day, it doesn't have to be on a track if you don't have money or access to a track by you. In lockdown I was just simply doing this on the streets. I do a 2.5 kilometre warm up or 2,500 metre warm up, and then once I'm fully warm, I'm stretched out, I'm loose, my body's warm enough to be able to do a faster paced run. I let my body recover, and then I go again. I might do 2 by 800 meters, 4 by 400 meters, and 4 by 200 meters with another 2.5 kilometer, 2,500 meter cool down. Now in between intervals, what I like to do is allow my heart rate to get down to 120 beats per minute, and I go again. If you don't have access or don't have money to buy a running watch or anything that measures your heart rate, another way you can do this is simply just time yourself. Before I had a watch, I just time myself. I started off at 2 minutes in between my sets, just like you would if you're in the gym. You allow your muscles time to recover, you allow through blood flow the oxygen to get back around your muscles, and you go again. You lift another set and bench press, for example. Again, it's the exact same in running, so you go again once you feel recovered, and you keep doing this, and through this progressive overload you can come home and your body will react to the new stimulus, and gradually over time you'll be able to run at a much faster pace and be more comfortable with it. You'll get used to feeling uncomfortable, something I hugely find in these workouts. They are very, very difficult and tough mentally, especially if you're doing 10 sets over the course of the whole interval. Say for example you're doing 10 by, I don't know, 600 meters or 6 by 800 meters, something along those lines. It can get very tiring and actually very mentally challenging, but this is hugely beneficial for increasing your overall mental strength. I like to speak about improving holistically as an athlete, and this is just one of those ways you improve. These are very tough, but you have such a good runner's high at the end of it, and over time you actually grow and learn to enjoy these workouts, and I actually personally look forward to them. They're very difficult, but I love the way it makes my body feel after, and because you know how hard you've just worked, you seem to have a great self-respect, and it just improves the runner's high after you do these track interval workouts. The second workout I'd recommend for improving your overall running speed is called a tempo run. Say for example you're training for a marathon. You might have a run of which you do a 2.5 kilometer, 3 kilometer warm up, then in the middle of the run you would do 6 kilometer at your target marathon pace, and the same cool down as you did for the distance in the warm up. That's what a tempo run is. So while you do it, there's a significant part of the run in the middle of the run where you're running at your target marathon pace. To familiarize yourself with the pace, get your body used to it, get comfortable feeling uncomfortable, and to familiarize how you want to react in terms of your running form and perhaps your breathing methods at that pace. So me for example, running at a 3 minute 45 kilometer pace, I breathed in through my nose. Every one breath it would be 2 strides, and every breath out from my mouth it would be 2 strides. So it would be like that's something I like to do. Again, it's just mentally familiarizing yourself with it, and it's just improving your familiarity running at that certain pace that you want to set on race day. Perhaps it's 5k, 10k, half marathon or marathon. You want to build up to having a significant time or a significant period of the run in the middle of the run where you're running at your target half marathon or whatever race you're training for pace. But if you're just starting, a way you can do this, you might want to warm up for a kilometer or 2. You might have 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, and perhaps do this in like 5 sets, and then gradually you can build up to 45 seconds and then a minute, and through time you can have a significant period of the run in the middle of the run where you might do 5k, 6k, 8k, running at your target pace for the day. Again, this is a really important run, and honestly this was a great run with me familiarizing myself with the pace that I want to set when I was training for the marathon. I got used to the pace so much that I could pretty much run bang on plus or minus 5 seconds, say, tolerance at the pace that I wanted to set and race day without even looking at my watch. Just because I clocked so many hours running at that pace, it just became pretty routine. So say for example at the start I might have only been able to do 3 kilometers at my target marathon pace in between the warm up and cool down. Say for example it was a sunny day, a little bit hotter, my heart rate was higher on those sunnier days. Then I kept doing it, and then I was able to do it over the course of 42 kilometers when it was a little bit cooler in October. Something you just get yourself used to. It helps you mentally, just builds confidence, and again, a hugely important run if you want to set a new PB on race day and improve your running speed. The third workout I'm recommending you do, and what I did when I was trying to build up my overall running speed, are hill sprints. But why do I do them, or why should you do them too? Well, simply putting it, the hill sprints is the same method as the first workout, the track intervals or just interval runs in general. You're building your heart rate up, and then as you come back down the hill, you allow it to recover, you sprint back up again, your heart rate shoots up, comes back down, and you do it in intervals. The oxygen flows back through your body and you go again. But there's a little bit more to it than that, because when you're running uphill, you're activating more muscles. Your calves, your hamstrings and your glutes are hugely firing when you're running uphill, that it actually improves your overall strength and makes you a much more explosive runner. If you can get used to running fast uphill, then when you're either running downhill or on straights, you're going to be so much more explosive, and you're going to be able to increase your stride length without putting more exertion in. Now you can run at that pace more comfortably. Say you're doing a longer run, or you're trying to increase your speed, then you can run at a faster pace for the same distance, if that makes sense. So you're improving your anaerobic threshold, but you're also improving your explosive strength. This is huge for running, and gradually over time this will make you a much stronger, much more durable runner, so you're going to be able to do more miles overall and ultimately be a faster, more well-rounded runner. I've explained my 3 favourite workouts for improving your overall running speed, but something that I should say is you have anaerobic workouts and you have aerobic workouts. The faster runs, the more fast twitch muscle fibers that we're using, operating at an anaerobic workout, meaning that these workouts your body's operating or consuming glycogen as an energy source, or predominantly carbohydrates, and the other energy source we have is fats. Now fats will be burned predominantly, again you'll be burning a little bit of carbohydrates, but you'll be burning predominantly fats at an aerobic style workout. Aerobic is more slower, slow paced movements, perhaps walking for example, but putting it in runs terms, a simple conversational paced run. What is a conversational pace? Well, simply you can run and have a conversation with a mate, a steady pace of which you want to do. You need to incorporate these aerobic runs into your overall weekly training. Even though they're not directly making you much faster and increasing your overall running speed, what these do is they improve your strength in your tendons, ligaments and muscles, and ultimately help you be a more durable runner, increase your overall strength and improve your cardiovascular base, basically how far you can run for. These are great workouts, and it's absolutely essential you introduce one long run into your weekly schedule and some other slower paced runs in between these fast paced runs as well. So a simple way of how you increase these aerobic runs is, say for example your overall weekly mileage is 25 miles. Increase this by a maximum of 10% each week, and gradually over time you'll be able to build up that strength, that durability, and ultimately this prevents us from getting injured because we're increasing the strength at a doable rate. We're not likely to get injured if we're only running 10% extra each week, and we can keep doing these anaerobic exercises on a weekly basis, because the most important thing if we can stay fit is consistency. If you do this consistently, honestly I swear you will hugely increase your running speed. I wouldn't have done what I've done in running without doing these exercises, so I hugely recommend these exercises. I briefly touched on earlier that I like to improve holistic physically as an athlete. What I mean by this is your physicality, but also alongside that, your mind and spirit. You'll go through times in a race where you're struggling mentally. And if you have a stronger mind, something I like to do, I like to focus solely on two things: my pace and consuming my supplements in on time. Adopt a stoic mindset, try to not allow my ego to come into it until the last part of the race where I really need that adrenaline to see at home. I made a video where I think it would be interesting for you to see of how I mentally approach training, so I'll link that up there in one of the top corners of this video for you to watch if that's of interest to you, where I explain a little bit more the mental side of training. Say for example, your mental toughness is much stronger than everyone else, and you can almost be an overachiever if you like. You can operate at a harder pace because you're willing to go somewhere that someone else or the next person isn't willing to go. And again, in that video I'll explain it more in detail, so if that's something of interest, click that on your watch later. Let me know in the comment section below what your favourite workouts are for improving your overall running speed, and if you've either found value in it or enjoyed today's video, I'd hugely appreciate it if you could drop the video a like. It massively helps me out in the YouTube algorithm, and if you haven't already, come and subscribe. The water's warm in here, I swear, I promise. The water's absolutely lovely, so come and dip your toes in.